Bitcoin right now attempting to break both daily and weekly resistance. This move has the potential to be not only a big move, but potentially a mega move. Bitcoin right now has initiated a intraday mini move, but what if I told you that we have a good chance here, a pretty good chance, of initiating a mega move? So if you're interested in making millions or potentially even billions of dollars, hit that like, hit that subscribe, get signed up to BINGX below if you want to buy Bitcoin, trade, buy altcoins. Remember, you only have about a week and a half or so left until you will be required to do KYC. So even if you don't plan on trading within the next few weeks or buying any crypto within the next few weeks, you might as well sign up right now, because after these next few weeks, you will be required to KYC your account, which many people do not want to do. And yeah, so there's a limited time for that. If we take a little dibby-do onto the price of Bitcoin, we see that right now, Bitcoin is coming off the lows set back at the very beginning of this month, just actually bottoming about exactly a week ago at this point, right above 50,000 US dollars. Still a massive potential inverse head and shoulder in play here. Ginormous with the head, again, being set back on August 7th. Something we talked about in the most recent video was the weekly chart for Bitcoin and how absolutely insanely critical and important Bitcoin holding on this 50-week moving average is. And with only about 2 days left until this weekly candle close, so far this has been a very successful weekly candle. We basically, as I said in the last video that I posted, we basically needed to have a bounce here right at about 54,000 US dollars per Bitcoin. If we go back, I mean, look at this 50-week moving average, this blue line. We haven't even come into contact with it. Besides what we just did over the last few weeks, the last time that we came into contact with it was all the way back in February of 2023, okay? Over a year and a half ago. And that was when Bitcoin was right off of its lows, about 15,000 US dollars. So we hadn't even I mean, we came kind of close back in September of 2023, but we didn't touch it. And then we didn't even come anywhere close to it until we actually went to it last month, the beginning of August, right here, right in this giant wick that ended up being a pretty nice looking candle. But here we are again, and defending this is insanely important. This, if we defend this, this is like a very concrete double bottom higher low, with this being the initial low, this being the higher low, and this absolutely can give market participants kind of confidence to speculate on Bitcoin going higher here. Basically, this kind of structure is a very bullish structure if we just don't go lower than we've already gone, basically down to about 53. So we also see that the weekly chart has just been completely demolished. You can see the MACD and RSI getting completely dumped on for the past like 6-7 months. We're starting to see this kind of fade. Seeing this blue line going above this orange is basically a confirmation on the MACD that is a bullish cross. Same thing with the RSI. We've gotten so close so many times with the purple line going back above the yellow on the RSI, and we didn't get it. We almost did it back in June. We almost did it in July. We almost did in August, but we didn't any of those times. If we actually can, this attempt, okay, what you see when you see an RSI breakout, the price of Bitcoin will absolutely pop off big time. It would indicate basically, whether it is whatever bull flag, whether it's a descending broadening wedge, however people have it drawn, this kind of price structure, if you're new to the markets, might look not good. But even if you have like a couple weeks of experience in markets, you would understand how this is very often just a more bullish structure. Whether it's a bull flag or these kind of consolidations like this very often lead to mega moves. I mean, even similar to the closest example of this just being the summer of last year, where we saw something very similar for about 6 months. This was about a 217, 220-day consolidation. Here we've been consolidating for about 200 days. So actually, the one in the summer last time was actually a little bit longer and a little bit more, I don't want to say boring, because I honestly think right now is more boring somehow. Try to remember the sentiment back here though. right? We got dumped on in this bear market back in all of 2022. 2023 had the first couple months where we were going up, and then we just traded sideways for months and months. And so many people, the most bearish people, were getting so much attention. And basically every chart people were drawing was a chart like this, okay? Just going straight down. And the opposite happened. We went straight up. Basically, this kind of consolidation, if we're in a macro bull trend, is good. And we're in a very similar position now. I still absolutely believe we're in a macro bull trend, literally days away from the first rate cuts, okay? Literally days away. How is the stock market reacting? Well, the SPX, if we take a look on the daily chart for the SPX, honestly, it's looking kind of bullish. Look on the weekly chart. I mean, the SPX is basically at its all-time highs. It's literally we're less than 1% away from a new all-time high in the stock market. Let's say we get a macro breakout in the stock market over the next week or so. What do you think Bitcoin's going to do? Bitcoin has been completely dumped on for the better part of this year, just completely destroyed, right? But now, after so much consolidation, so much momentum being reset, and if the stock market starts pumping big time, right, goes up to a new all-time high, we get our first rate cuts, we get an increase in liquidity, man, I don't know. Like, you basically have two sides you could be betting on. You could be betting on this thing just rolling over and taking a massive dump, which if we look at the history of Bitcoin after the halvings, that has quite literally never happened before, right? If you're betting on these markets, which most people are, if you have a position, you're betting, right? Then history would tell you that this is not the time that makes the most sense, especially as we're about to head into a much different macro environment when it comes to Fed policy. I don't know. I mean, I personally just think we're going to have a massive break. I think the next massive move makes sense to me as being massively to the upside. I mean, even we can look really quickly, Bitcoin dominance look at Bitcoin dominance since the beginning of 2023 has only gone up. And I think we have a little bit more at least to go, maybe well above 60% dominance temporarily, I think, before seeing this slow down. And then I think altcoins will have a move, but not now. I don't think. I mean, I think, let's say Bitcoin goes to $70,000, $75,000, $80,000, $90,000 per Bitcoin in the next couple of weeks or next month or so. I think altcoins absolutely are going to go up as well. Right, the space is going to get more interesting. There's going to be more money flowing in the space, but the true alt seasons, the true alt season isn't even here yet. I don't even think we could still be another 3 to 6 months away from that, which is good in a sense because basically if you have a giant alt position, I think you still have so much money that you haven't made yet that will be made, but you just need patience. I mean, for pizza's sake, look at this. The past 6 or 7 months. So many people already have been failing at being patient with this. And sometimes you just got to close your portfolio and do something else for a couple months, okay? There's no need to spend your entire life staring every single second, every single day at one of these charts if it's just going sideways, okay? Bitcoin has done that its entire life. It goes through periods of doing nothing. And I mean, let's be honest. If you have your portfolio figured out, if you know your plan, if you have a plan and you stick to it, you don't really need to do anything with your portfolio during these boring periods. But I strongly believe we're about to not be in one of those boring periods. I strongly believe we're about to do exactly what Bitcoin does post-halving. I don't think this time will be much different. I think maybe there will be a difference in maybe it's a couple months difference on when it tops. Maybe it's percentage-wise a little different than where it tops. But overall, I don't think the whole gist, the whole idea is going to be much different than it's ever been. I think we're right on track, honestly. In fact, it's still a little early. We had a very strong breakout for Bitcoin going to new all-time highs before the halving, which we'd never done before. So this time already is a little bit different. Okay, we already put in new all-time highs all the way back in March. So for cooling off at this point, sitting right on the 50-week moving average, if we hold that as support, very likely, in my opinion, we have a extremely strong bounce coming out of this to $100,000 plus for the first time in history having Bitcoin at a 6-digit Bitcoin. But that's the weekly chart. You look at the daily chart as well. One thing I do want to talk about is just that The daily chart as well, as of this last move, we're kind of, the 21 and 50 day moving averages are right beside each other, kind of like 58,000 for the 21 and 60,000 for the 50. The 100 day is all the way up at about 64, and that's going to be a big one. But overall, I mean, Bitcoin basically has to, in my opinion, has to have a big move out of this. It has to have an explosive move out of this. We'll definitely want to see like the Bollinger Bands absolutely react and show us, just give us a massive amount of volatility. We look at the daily chart as well. I mean, we every time, you know, are we about to have another maybe week, 2-3 weeks of pumpy, right? I got one of these bullish crosses well on the MACD. It's possible. This move this morning potentially also validates that. But overall, I think that regardless if it happens today or next week, I just think it's very clear the trend this is going. Overall, what has the trend been the past 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months though? Just sideways. It hasn't really done anything except kind of just trend downwards, and put in lower lows. But the second that we put in that higher low, the second that we break this descending structure, let's say really get above 65,000 US dollars is the big one. That's basically when I get mega bullish, is 65,000 US dollars and above. Then to me, that's like confirmation of, okay, this could be like the big breakout where we're talking about a 6-figure Bitcoin. So we're getting close, very close. And get signed up with Phemex below. This is your last like 1 or 2 weeks left to sign up with Phemex and use it forever without KYC using the link below. And without any further ado, this is for me.